Hey guys, I already I promised to record a video of me running down and some of my friends running down all of the movies from DC, Marvel, possibly Star Wars coming out, but the first one would have got my ass sued off, and the second one was just kind of me rambling for 2 hours. So until I could actually record a proper one, I am going to record how I would do Captain America Civil War. Now, this isn't based on any of the rumors, on any of that. I will be basing this off past movies and how they could all collide into this. And I'm hoping that I could turn this into a little series. I have a bunch of notes here, and I'm not going to just be making stuff up as I go. I'm actually pretty ready. So, let's start off with the teams. This is just a basic part because there's a bunch of characters I'm not even sure. So I'd want Iron Man's team to be, of course, Iron Man as the leader. I'd want Bruce Banner there because honestly I think that he would join Tony's team because, well, they're friends there. Bruce never really had any type of connection with Captain America. In fact, Captain America is the reason that he's the Hulk because he was trying to experiment with a super soldier serum. Then I think Vision, because from the promo art that we got, we know that Tony and Bruce created Vision. So basically, they're like his dad, right? Crossbones, he would be the leader of the Thunderbolts team, which I'd want to appear in this. I had a long-running theory that the Thunderbolts would be in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Talbot might connect all of the, like, Absorbing Man, Blizzard, stuff like that. But if they don't manage to do that, I'd want them to do here, Thunderbolts. Then War Machine, because of course, Tony's buddy or friend. Hank Pym. Now, I actually wrote Scott Lang into the other team. I just thought Hank Pym might be a little bit more onto the registration side, because according to the leaked FanX Comic-Con trailer that we got, we know that Hank Pym doesn't like rogue heroes. He says, to Scott, he said, you're not a hero, the heroes are unpredictable, and I think that's hinting to he might take this side. Then Black Panther would be on this team first, and maybe then join Captain America in replacing Spider-Man. Claw, also on the Thunderbolts. Now, maybe Black Panther discovers that Claw's on this team, and that's one of the reasons he leaves. That'd be an interesting event. Maria Hill, because we know she's working for Stark International or Stark whatever, and Happy Hogan. Now, he's not a hero, but he's a very central character to Tony in the movies, so definitely Happy. Agent Ward. Now, again, Thunderbolts. Tony's taking in reformed criminals. There could be if Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is extended for a third season, have the crossover episode end with Ward showing up at, like, the Stark Tower. You don't even have to show Tony because that would cost a lot. Maybe have Maria Hill in there. Basically like that. And Agent 13, again, always traveling with Ward, from what I could understand in the last Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode. And that's about it for Tony's team. Now we have Cap's team, or the Resistance. This is falling out of it. We have Captain America, of course, the leader. Hawkeye. Now, Hawkeye, a lot of people ask, oh, but wouldn't he stay with S.H.I.E.L.D.? The thing is that this isn't S.H.I.E.L.D. doing the registration. This is Tony. And Hawkeye has been shown to be willing to defy leadership if he thinks that it's right. Like, in the Captain America deleted scene, apparently he not knowing, only suspecting that S.H.I.E.L.D. would be Hydra, he had to fight Captain America and secretly lost, but on purpose, and whispered into Cap's ear that his suit has a tracker on it, and that's why he switched suits. So obviously Hawkeye would, if he could do that, he'd probably be on that team. Falcon. Now, we know from recent interview that Falcon's gonna get a new suit, and he may become Captain America. I still support Winter Soldier becoming Captain America, but I'll talk about that later. Black Panther joining this team after maybe he finds out Claw's on the Thunderbolts doesn't like that, leaves. Scott Lang, yet again, he spent a lot of his life as a criminal. So maybe, I don't know, he always thought of Cap as a hero. He doesn't like the Registration Act. Doesn't matter as long as we get a reasonable explanation, not just he doesn't like the registration. Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. Now, from what I could understand from seeing the movie, they're gonna have a special connection with Captain America, from what I could understand. And yeah, possibly they go on, because he and Hawkeye are the ones that apparently get them out from Baron Strucker. So yeah, I'm thinking that's definitely going to be a factor in that. Winter Soldier. Now, he doesn't necessarily need to be part of the team. Maybe like defending them from the shadows, like possibly shooting some people that maybe discovered their base, or like kind of not, they don't know that it's on their team. Nick Fury. Now, Nick Fury, I just thought that he would be on this team because he hasn't always seen eye to eye with Tony Stark, but he's always been on Cap's side. He always, during Winter Soldier, you could really see that he looked up to him and all of that. Coulson. Now, this includes all of Coulson's team, not including Ward, of course, because he's not on their team. So, Skye, Fitz and Simmons, Mac, and May. Did I forget anyone? No, I think that's about it. I haven't watched the show in a while. I'd want all of these people to join the Resistance. Maybe even they could house. Well, I'll talk about that when I describe what I'd want the movie to be. And Agent 13. Wait. Okay. No. What's her name? I made a typo here, sorry. The granddaughter or whatever of Peggy Carter. Sharon Carter. Oh god, Sharon Carter. She was hinted at in the last movie, and definitely want to see her on the big screen. On this team. I wouldn't want Doctor Strange to be anywhere here because I just don't think that he really isn't important. Because in the comics, they just completely took him out because he could end the entire thing in 2 seconds, just saying go away or whatever. Alright, so let's talk about the story. How would I want this to go? Okay, so I made an entire, basically, like, not a script, but a mini notes of how I'd want the story to go. So I'd want it to start off with following, like, the camera following a running Night Thrasher. Now, Night Thrasher is not a very popular character, that's obvious, and that's why, as you'll see later, we could kill him off later, and nobody would really care. I'm not saying that he's a bad character. For all the fans out there that like him, I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm just saying that he hasn't been introduced in this universe yet, so they haven't really built him up in anything, so he's a disposable character. Sorry, I drank some tea. He is a disposable character. So we follow him. He breaks into a safe house and hits 2 Hydra thugs, but the third one runs away. Now, this is really we can't really introduce all of the new warriors into this because, it's a little too much. But one hero that's not really prepared, not really trained at all, bursts into a Hydra warehouse or a Hydra safe house and tries to take on 3 whole soldiers that and as I imply later in the notes, he also knows that they have a lot of bombs in there. So not very smart, following exactly how it happened in the comics while not having to introduce an entire team that didn't have any character development. So he runs after the Hydra agent, and in the opening, he's standing near a lot of bombs holding a trigger. And he says, I know why you're here. He says, here they are. And Night Thrasher yells, no, don't. And then white. Just have the screen go to white, fade off into white. It just have that linger there for 5-10 seconds, really let in the fact, maybe even have like a blurred explosion noise in the background. Really make it a dramatic scene. Then the next you have to fade into that famous image of Tony and Steve standing in the ruins of a school, and around them all the Avengers are trying to help people. No words are necessary here. Everything is implied. Have ashes flying around. It's a horrible tragedy. They can't say anything to each other. They can't talk about anything. You don't even have to have the Avengers there, because possibly the event from that, again, leaked scene we saw from the panel, we saw that Tony and Steve were arguing, so it's possible the Avengers may disassemble at the end of the movie again, but this time they're angry at each other. So have it really emotional scene, some kind of dramatic music. Don't try and fill this up with exposition. Help the audience figure it out for themselves. Then again, fade to black. There needs to be a lot of fading in the scene, like cuts and stuff like that, because we don't need to be told. We're not idiots. We don't need to be told exactly what's happening. We can figure it out for ourselves. And that's what's important here, that you let the audience try and be smart enough to understand what this is and how it affects everybody. So then we go to Cap talking to Black Widow in jail. Now, apparently the rumors are that that Ant-Man is going to be, in the after credits scene, Black Widow's going to be arrested for all her crimes. And that's completely possible. I'm fine with that. I guess Black Widow was not my favorite character from Avengers. She's my least favorite, actually. I don't know. I felt like if you put it in Wasp or a different character, you'd get a much more interesting person. But if we could get some more character, because from what I could see, there's a lot of flashbacks of her in the Avengers 2 trailers. If we could get some more character development, that'd be fine, great. But anyway, she's in jail, and Cap's talking to her about how horrible the disaster is. Now, again, we don't need it to be thrown in our faces. Just have him describing it. I really want her face to be expressing how she's feeling. We need to see the face and how she's reacting to this, because Scarlett Johansson, she's a good actress, and I'm sure that she could pull off doing that scene. And yeah, so again, I'd like this to take place at the same time as Thor, so we could have so we can't have him on one team just being overpowered or whatever. So then we cut to Tony talking to Fury about the Registration Act. Now, this scene was basically before. It wasn't really in anything. It was I just thought that this might show how Tony's really acting, and this is a good exposition scene. This is a scene that you could use to really show off, and this is my idea. And the registration, this one, I'd want it to be varied to where everybody has to register and work for the government, not S.H.I.E.L.D., and they don't have to reveal their identities. It's just that they have to work for them, and they have to answer to the calls. They're not allowed to just run off by themselves anymore. It's a pretty extreme act, so it shows why. And though Tony's supposed to be the antagonist here, don't make him completely unlikable. Make him the usual charming, witty guy he is most of the time. Just make him a little bit more extreme, and not extreme, like with guns and missiles and stuff. No, extreme as in he's willing to do whatever it needs to do to pass that act. So also have him, this is my idea, have him explain that Pepper died in the blast of the explosion. Now, Gwyneth Paltrow was talking, and she said that Marvel's considering replacing her, possibly with another love interest, possibly with a younger actress. Whatever that is, I think that she's acted out her 4 movies that she's been in. She was in Avengers for a couple of minutes. I think that if you kill her, it wouldn't really hurt the franchise too much. Meanwhile, I'd want Maria Hill talking to Cap about the act and trying to get him to join. And Cap, of course, says no, because that's the famous scene where she calls in the guards and he has to break out of the helicarrier. But I'd rather have this be a much more grounded scene. No helicarrier, no jumping, no riding airplanes or surfing them. I'd want it to be more of a talkie, and then tell him he's gonna leave, and then he says that he says to for Sam and Clint Barton, Hawkeye, and Sam Falcon, to leave with him. And Maria Hill yells at him, "You can't do that to my agents," and he says, "You lost the right after you're expecting us all to work for you." And then she calls in a couple of guards. Cap doesn't manage to fight them all off because he left his shield back at home or whatever. Maybe he's not suited up. And then while they're escaping, because obviously the guards have guns, they manage to go into, I don't know, the weapon room, the equipment room, and Clint grabs his bow and arrow, and Sam grabs his upgraded Stark-issued Falcon suit. And this is the part that I want. I want it to have a dark red. Don't make it overly light. We don't need that. We don't need the spandex. We don't need the feathers. We don't need Red Wing. But we do need we do want a bit of red, and that's what every fan is asking for. Maybe the color of Ant-Man, like that type of red from the movie. And then Red Wing, speaking of Red Wing, I'd like Red Wing to possibly be a program where he could like hack into all of the city security cameras, possibly, so he could see everything like he could see through the eyes of birds. Or maybe a robotic bird or whatever. If you want to include Red Wing in, that's the most reasonable. We're not actually going to have a bird that he could talk to. If we did, that'd be kind of awesome, but also at the same time a bit ridiculous. So, yeah. So then they manage to fly off, and they land in Coulson's base from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where they're currently, that's where S.H.I.E.L.D. is. Sorry, again, drinking tea. Thirsty. And that's where Coulson takes them in and says that they could house the Resistance there. So that obviously means that S.H.I.E.L.D. backs the Resistance. And again, have a crossover episode. You do not need to include any of the big time heroes. Coulson, Clark Gregg, the actor for Coulson, did tease that maybe Hawkeye might be appearing on the show. If he did, just have him talking about some plans, whatever, have him appear for a moment, and have how the Civil War impacts the agents, if you extend it for a third season. Don't have to show Chris Evans. You don't have to show all of the big actors that are in here. No, you just need to show that they're affected by that. Because we're already getting that in the movie. We don't need it to be side by side with the movie. So, afterwards, we have Tony looking through all of the files of people that have registered, and this is the perfect scene for little Easter eggs of heroes that we want. Don't need to show them. Don't need to have them walk up, show off their powers, walk away. Just their faces, their names, their superhero names. Doesn't matter as long as we get those little Easter eggs to keep the fans going. It'd be great, and maybe then you set up perfectly the new Avengers or whatever, and that would perfectly, for Phase 4, which I may talk about, and that would perfectly set it up. But that's, again, it could just be him looking through heroes we already know. And this is where Maria walks up to him and asks, "What are you doing?" And he says, "Assembling." Now, that's the perfect part to cut from, just assembling, cut to black, and continue with Cap. Because it's kind of like this word that keeps lingering with you, you know? You remember that word, oh, Tony's assembling, obviously. Now, I don't want Avengers Assemble in the second movie. I actually want that to be the end of part 1 of the Infinity War. I just want him to say assembling, not Avengers Assemble. Now, you cut to Cap talking to his team about freeing all the captured heroes. Now, this would have been already a couple of weeks into the Civil War, because the Civil War lasted for about a month, something around that. So, a couple of weeks into the Civil War, some heroes have already been captured, and their only hope to reclaim that possible victory is by freeing those heroes and getting them back to well, yeah, they were getting their back so that they could kind of assemble their own little army. And while he's there, there's this big final fight. I'm not going to describe all of that happens. Nobody dies. Remember, these are all heroes fighting each other. We're not going to have anybody die. There's no reason for that. It would just be useless. But, of course, somebody has to die. So, Cap, just seeing how many people are hurt in this, he realizes that he's doing more harm than he originally wanted to stop. So he decides to surrender. Now, as he's being led to a police car, a bullet flies through his head. That's right, Crossbones shoots him. Now, Crossbones was on Tony's Thunderbolts team, but maybe have him short out his suppressor, whatever. Have him somehow manage to be able to deny the commands given to him. Now, right off, shock. That's where everything goes quiet. Maybe those parts in the movie where someone falls underwater and it's like, psh, like you just hear the blurred sounds of their ears. Kind of like the part after Avengers where everybody's running and everybody's sad during the Chitauri invasion, where Cap's standing in the destroyed town, in the destroyed square. So, yeah, and then we have slow motion or like kind of blurred movements, whatever. I want Hawkeye to shoot crossbones. Now, not shoot him with an arrow sharp. I want him to shoot him with a net arrow, and that causes him to stumble and fall off the building. As he's falling, Quicksilver catches him and throws him through a brick wall. That, of course, either kills him or knocks him out. They never say in the movie. I'd want it to just knock him out, possibly. He took some sort of serum to become stronger, experimental Cap one. But I'd like Crossbones to be a villain that could come back sometime. So he falls off the building, almost basically possibly survives. And then we have the movie end with a funeral for Captain America. Now, we want everybody to be there. Like, everybody that survives with their wounds. I want to show wounds. I want to show scratches, burns, whatever, and everybody standing there together and this line separating them. And that's where that's where Cap goes by. That's dead, obviously. And he's buried, and then the movie ends. And of course, I'd want the after credit scene to be Tony walks up to Cap's grave and puts down the shield there and walks away. And then we wait for like a minute, show it raining, whatever, and then a robotic arm just picks up Cap's shield. And then cut to black again. That's the last cut to black. And that perfectly sets up Avengers Infinity War, of course, that everybody is sad about Cap's death. There's no winners here, of course, in the Civil War. And now Tony is basically, he won, but at the same time he lost. And if that went like this, for me it'd be a great movie. Maybe for you guys it'd be different. Comment below. Comment, subscribe, and yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I definitely want to make some more of all the Phase 3 movies, and I definitely have been planning a Spider-Man one. Now, of course, I did mention Spider-Man in this one because I didn't want to waste my time, and I wasn't sure that he's going to appear yet, so we're not sure. But if he did, I'm going to talk in my other one. This isn't my own separate universe. I'm going to talk about what would happen if he did appear in Civil War and how I'd want his movie to go. Okay, guys, thanks. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you later.